My name is Saham Refi, and I'm a freshman at the college.
Sorry.
I also lived in South Carolina for a year, in Florence, so just to let you know that.
Okay.
Back to the O'Reilly question. Do you know what his attitude is towards your show and whether or not he's actually going to come on?
Whether what?
What his attitude is towards your show and whether he'll ever come on, for an interview?
We hope to have him on. We hope to have him on. I think we're doing a prisoner exchange. I go on his show and he comes on mine. Hopefully, I don't know. We'll see. That's what I'd like. And matter of fact, let me offer that invitation right now. I met him at the Time 100 most influential people in the world this year. Anyway, I met him at the Time 100. I'm just saying, and I said, he was right behind me at my table, like, "Oh, Mr. O'Reilly." He goes, "Oh, it had to happen. It had to happen at some point." All right, let's get this over with. And I said, "I just want to say I really enjoy your show." He goes, "I know. Where's my cut?" And I said, I really admire your ability to talk. And I wish I had. I wish I could just keep going the way you do. And he said, "Can I give you some advice? Can I give you some advice?" You can say no if you want. You want some advice? I said, "No, I'd love some." He goes, "Just watch your guest list, okay? Watch your guest list. You have your Oberman on, you have your Franken on. It sets a pattern. People notice." And I said, "But you saw how I was playing with Oberman. I wasn't taking that clown seriously." And he said, "I know that, but not everybody watches your show as closely as I do." And I was so honored. I really was, I have a genuine admiration for his ability as a broadcaster. And I got to tell you, there are times when I listen to what he says, and maybe it's not on difficult subjects, or maybe they're just 1,000 monkeys for a million years. But I agree. I find it frightening. But I find myself agreeing sometimes. Maybe I've been doing this show too long. Thank you for your question.
Right here. Yes. Hello. It's a privilege to meet you. My name is Con Hurley. I teach at the other football power here in town, Boston University.
Mm-hmm.
And
you guys going to a bowl this year?
Welcome. And from time to time, I make a faint attempt in my class to channel you. And I find that it's very difficult to stay on message. And I was going to ask you, how do you prepare yourself to become Stephen Colbert?
Well, all you have to do first, you go work on the Daily Show for 8 years, and then get your game. It helps to have a shameless need to be right regardless of the facts, and I try to keep that first and foremost in my head. That's it. And keep. I actually keep something in mind. Like there's a saying that I keep in the front of my mind when I do the character is, and the phrase, and I say it sometimes in the show, is, "I'm looking out for you. I got your back." Like that quality is, I got your back on this, and don't worry, I got it. Don't worry, Papa's got it. And it's a patronizing quality that really helps a lot. Try patronizing your students.
Hi, I'm Seth Packard. I'm a freshman here at Harvard College. But you often have a lot of big-name guests, and you often employ really interesting strategies to bring them in, like the Cocoa Puffs for Joe Lieberman.
Yeah.
But I was just wondering, if you could have one guest, who would it be and why, and what strategy would you employ to bring him in?
J.D. Salinger, obviously, would be a big get at this point. I don't see where he gets off going up to New Hampshire, living in that cabin. He should face the music. I'd love to have J.D. Salinger on. I wonder if I could shame him into coming on in some way. Mobilize the Colbert Nation to go get J.D. Salinger out. I don't know. I don't actually think that much about the guest on the show. I really enjoy. It's my favorite part of the show to do. But I look at the guests. Emily and I talk about who might be a good guest on the show. But guests come and guests go, and they drop out, and you can't necessarily build your show around who that's going to be. Really not until the day of that I put a ton of thought into the person. And then I sit down with a couple of writers who have put more thought, and we spend 15 minutes together talking about like my character's point of view about the person. And then I try not to think about it again. Thank you.
Before we go on to the next question, I want to tell everyone, if you've been to the forum before, the forum usually has two parts. It has the speech or the interview, then followed by questions from the audience. But this is a special 3-part forum.
Oh, wow.
And when we finish with the questions, don't get up. Stay seated. Mr. Colbert and his staff would like to do a segment for Comedy Central. And so stay in your seat. They're going to prepare for that. So don't get up. That's very important.
With your indulgence, it's my investigation of the Kennedy School of Government.
We have time for 2 more questions. So.
Hi, Mr. Colbert. My name is Maya Fromer, and I'm a senior at the college. And I know that recently on your show you had a chance to ask your guest one of this, and I thought that given the Democratic revolution in Congress, what do you think the Democratic priorities will be for at least the next 2 years? And I'm speaking specifically of cut and run, tax and spend, and man on man.
What are they going to do?
Yeah, what out of those 3 priorities do you think is the most important for the Democrats in the next 2 years?
Cut and run, tax and spend, man on man. There's any way to do all 3 at once. Gays in the military, get your cut and run and your man on man together. And I guess we should fund gays in the military, so that's where your tax and spend would be. I'm sure that my character will have, it's really my character's point of view of the Democrats. I'm not actually all that politically savvy. Here's a shocker. I follow the crowd, but my character just feels more strongly and less thoughtfully about the ideas. You know, I assimilate the zeitgeist. I assimilate the political atmosphere and become enraged by it. But it helps to have an already established political atmosphere. So it's as it comes along. Man on man and tax and spend and cut and run evolved. Tax and spend was there already, but I got to say man on man and tax and spend evolved. So we'll see what the future holds. I can't wait to see what 2-word phrases I'll be yelling.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Constance Cannon. I'm a mid-career student here at the Kennedy School. Also a former MTV Networks employee, so we are kind of colleagues in that
Secret
sense.
handshake.
I wanted to ask you, yep, there's been a lot of talk about the FCC really tightening up what you can and can't say on cable. And MTV Networks having been the home of Nipplegate, of course. I'm wondering how you think that this will impact your show if the FCC does decide to go through with it.
I think that's loosened up a bit. I don't think that's as bad as it was, say, 2 years ago. Like the fall of 2004 was when it was really bad, when Michael Powell was head of the FCC, and you know that you couldn't say, you couldn't drop the F-bomb in Saving Private Ryan, that whole thing, and then Nipplegate and a couple other things like that. And I was asked specifically, like, please be careful how many times you say GD it or something, no matter how angry your character gets. But I think that's really not as bad as it once was. I mean, not that I necessarily want to work blue, but I really think that's easing up a bit.
Good.
Before we wrap up, I would like to say a special thank you to IOP staff member Julie Schrader, who was nice enough to arrange Mr. Colbert's visit today. Reminder, please stay in your seat. I think we're going to begin immediately. And finally, I'd like to say, Mr. Colbert, thank you for coming and warming up for Mr. Negroponte.
Yeah, thanks very much. Thanks for having me.